Hello ladies and gentlemen, boys, girls, dogs, and cats, and welcome back to Calm Down Level Up. Today we are here again in Hearts of Iron 4, but we're not in Millennium Dawn, we're in Modern Day 4. Now I know you guys are just as excited as me for World War 3 to break out pretty soon here, and I was thinking, man, before it breaks out, maybe we could get a little bit of insight on what it would be like. So we're going to be simulating a kind of fictional World War 3 with Modern Day 4. Now, I'm going to give you a disclaimer really quick. I'm not an expert on Middle Eastern politics, so I might say some things in my commentary that if I'm completely wrong on, you guys could point that out. But just know that I'm not an expert, and you don't have to, like, be really mean to me in the comments. But I have set up a fairly reasonable scenario here. Another thing really quick is this game's start date is actually the 1st of January 2017. So it's not quite the same time as now, but we can get it to look pretty similar. So if you guys aren't aware, there was an alleged chemical weapons attack by the Assad regime about 5 days ago, maybe 6 days ago when this goes up. Both France's Macron and the UK's Theresa May have agreed that a response is needed. Saudi Arabia has publicly condemned the chemical weapon use, as well as Erdogan from Turkey. He's also said publicly that there needs to be a response. And Trump, of course, has tweeted quite a few times about how we're going to be shooting some missiles pretty soon. Also, one more disclaimer. I am completely neutral in politics here, so do not think that I'm anti-Trump or pro-Trump or anything like that. I'm just saying what's happened, and I'm just here to set up a cool battle for us to watch. But in our scenario, the US will shoot missiles at a target in Syria. The Russians will respond by attacking either a US vessel or the British base on Cyprus, and that basically leads to World War III. France has now declared war in Syria for the Russian retaliation, as well as the United Kingdom and America. Alright boys, so our world is now posed for war. The Russians will now be responding. And let's just see where this world goes from this. By the way, this should be about a 3-parter, possibly more if it takes a little longer. But I don't want the series to take too long. Alright, we have a bunch of things happening here. Iraq joined the Resistance Axis, which I believe is Iran's faction. Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan, and Syria, Iran, and Russia are now all joined in a war against the ones that declared the war. I also forgot to mention that I raised the world tension up to 100%. I gave both Russia and America 70% world tension. It also looks like the European coalition is formed between Romania and Britain. Novorossiya has joined the Eurasian Union, which is Russia's faction. Transnistria as well, and Armenia has joined Russia against the French. South Ossetia and Abkhazia, all of Russia's little buddies down there in the Caucasus. And finally, Syria itself joined the Eurasian Union. Mongolia has joined the Shanghai Pact, which is China's faction. Laos as well. Tajikistan has joined the Shanghai Pact. The Philippines, wow. So Asia is uniting to defend itself. Nepal as well. Tahrir al-Sham has joined the Peninsula Shield Force. That is a nation that I'm not too sure of. That is this region. Okay, so this is like some Islamists. So these are like some Islamists that control a northern bit of Syria. I don't know too much about all the different factions that are fighting in Syria. South Africa joined Eurasian Union. So South Africa is siding with Russia in World War III. The anti-government forces of South Sudan joined the Darfur Coalition. That must be something down there in Africa. Yes, so there is a large war growing in Africa as well. The entire world is destabilizing. America finally joined the faction with Britain. A bunch of countries have joined the Eurasian Union, siding with Russia, including Venezuela, Nicaragua, and Cuba. Looks like Angola and Algeria and Sri Lanka. Many countries. Looks like most of the countries are actually siding on the Russian side. These countries are just dumping in to the Russian faction. Sudan joined the Non-Aligned African Organization for Peace and Stability. Wow. Also, France finally joined the European Coalition. On the ground in Syria, it's still very messy, but the Syrian government forces are probably going to start winning here and taking lots of land back, especially with Russian equipment lend-leases. Alright, there was a peace deal in Libya, actually. The government of National Accord of Libya took one state, and the National Salvation Government of Libya was annexed. But there is fighting in Cuba right now. American forces from Guantanamo Bay are actually attacking into Cuban forces. The Free Syrian Army joined the Non-Aligned African Organization for Peace and Stability. Wow. That is not the faction I would have guessed they would have joined, but that's okay, I guess. India has also joined the non-aligned African Organization for Peace and Stability. The US is also planning invasions now and is actually attacking the coast of Venezuela and is planning an invasion into Nicaragua. We're also seeing clashes between French forces and Algerian forces in the Mediterranean, with support of British and American divisions over here as well. I do also like this mini World War III event that's going on down here in Africa, in Sudan, as well as the Central African Republic. Oh, look at that. The Congo has joined the non-aligned faction. Houthi Yemen joined Resistance Axis. That's actually Iran's faction, and Iran is siding with Assad. So the Resistance Axis and the Eurasian Union are kind of working together. Cuban forces are really struggling over here. Yemen actually joined the European coalition. That might be one of the first European coalition nations to actually capitulate. Americans have landed in Venezuela as well, but they do seem to be surrounded and in a very bad position. Although they could be taking a very key city over here in western Venezuela pretty soon. The House of Representatives of Libya joined the Eurasian Union. There is still 3 Libyas, but one of them is non-aligned, one of them is in Russia's faction, and one of them is in its own thing, the Darfur Coalition. A lot more territory in Cuba is falling to the Americans. This is one of the most fast-moving fronts of this war right now. Oh, ISIS is actually in a faction. They've joined the Confederate African Nations. They are in a faction with this guy over here, which I'm not sure how you say this. Republic of Dar el Kuti? They've joined the same alliance with ISIS, although ISIS is not looking too good right now. They've basically been repulsed out of most of Iraq. About half of the island of Cuba. Whoa, Korea DPR declared war on South Korea. They're taking advantage of the chaos to try to retake South Korea. That's going to open up another major front, I think, and we might see the Shanghai Pact get involved. North Korea has joined the Eurasian Union, actually, so they've joined alongside Russia. Okay, there was just a peace conference in the Middle East. The Islamic State and the guy down in Africa were both annexed, so rest in peace, you guys. This is what Syria now looks like. South Korea has now joined the European coalition as well, so they've joined sort of the allies, I guess. Here's another pretty big peace deal down in Africa. Anti-Balaka took 1 state, South Sudan took 2 states, Sudan took 1 state. Central African Republic, Sudan Revolutionary Front, anti-government forces of South Sudan, and Darfur were all annexed. So these are our new borders down here in Africa. I didn't realize this, but I guess the neutrality front in Africa, and I guess that means India as well, are at war with the Eurasian Union. I didn't realize how that happened, but the neutrality front, I guess, is an extension now of the European coalition, just as the resistance axis is kind of an extension of the Eurasian Union. The Americans have taken everything east of Havana in Cuba. Another peace deal, 2 more countries are annexed. Algeria and Syria both got 1 state. So one of the rebel groups in Syria capitulated, as well as one of the rebel groups in Libya capitulated. So Algeria just got a piece of Libya. Venezuela is slowly dying as well to both French and American forces. They've both done a very good job of invading Venezuela so far, taking coastline. So this government faction, oh, you can't see it because of those clouds. This government faction in Libya is actually fighting alongside the Europeans and has allowed for the Americans and the French and the British to have a landing area and fight against the Russian faction over here. That is a lot of divisions to fight against. It is mostly just one of the rebel Libyan factions and Algeria as well, and some volunteers from other places. Looks like there's Brazilian volunteers on the Russian side. So I'm not sure if the West is going to be able to expand on that or not, but they definitely need to try if they're going to win in North Africa. Okay, so another major development as well, as you can see by all of these new notifications. What happened? Ukraine joined European coalition, and yeah, okay, so Russia declared war in Ukraine. That's a big one. That's going to lead to a war on the European continent as well. Japan joined European coalition, and Germany. Looks like for the most part, Venezuela is pretty much lost. The European faction, well, the European coalition, I believe it's called. The European coalition has taken swaths of land in the north, and basically all their victory points are up here, so Venezuela is going to be capitulating pretty soon. Transnistria actually joined the war with Russia, and are now invading Ukraine from the south. So Transnistria is doing a good work as well. There goes Poland as well, joining European coalition, so we have ourselves a nice, good land war in Europe now. Well, boys, this has been episode 1 of our World War III what if scenario. Thank you very much for watching this, guys. Our like goal, like always, is 1,000 likes, and I very much appreciate you hitting like. It makes sure the video gets seen by a lot more people. We're also almost at 20K, so make sure you hit subscribe so you can take part in our 20k celebration. So yeah, thanks again for watching. If you like this, make sure to leave a like, favorite, and subscribe if you guys are new. And I will see you guys all next time. Peace.